Well, hello everyone, it's Kari back again with you on the channel to share a really fun layering stencil. This one is from Miss Ink Stamps called Highland Cow, and let me show you all the layers. They are numbered up in the top right corner, and so here's the first and second one there, and as you layer these up, it creates the cutest little scene with a Highland cow in the center, flowers all around, and a little bird sitting on top of his head. It's really, really cute. And today I'm going to show you a couple ways to dress it up a little bit or add some additional fun little details at the end. So let me put these back in order and we'll get started. I find it easiest for me to use a sticky mat in my MISTI to line the paper up. And so the paper will line up with that little scene there. I'll stick that in my MISTI. I'll stick the stencil in the corner and then stick that paper down. So it's stuck down to that sticky mat, and then every time I put the stencil into the corner, it will line up perfectly so that I get a really great result every time. Now, if you don't have a MISTI, Miss Ink Stamps also has a really great corner stencil that helps you to line these up in the same way. It's just with a little stencil, so it's a lot less expensive. I'm going to start with some Distress ink in Rusty Hinge. It's kind of an orangey brown color, and I thought it would be fun to mix it up a couple of ways. Today I'm going to make two different cards showing you some different shades that you can use with this Highland Cow and how it turns out so different every time. So it's really fun to give this a try. I've got antique linen here that I'm going to add for his little ears and his little belly there. And after I picked up this stencil, I decided it wasn't quite dark enough, so I am going to add a little bit more to this layer. So see, as I look at that, I'm like, there's really not enough contrast there. So I'm adding some darker vintage photo. It's really fun to play with the colors and just mix it up a little bit. There we go. I like that a lot better. Now for the next layer is the flowers. Today I'm going to make these sunflowers, so these ones will be yellow. So I'm bringing in a little bit of the mustard seed right here, and I'll add a little bit of darkness to that as well. So as I say, it's very, very simple. There's also a little beak on this one. So I'm bringing in some oxide ink so that sits right on top, so you'll be able to see the beak a little bit better and his little feet for the bird. It's going to be hard to see in the video because it's such a small little detail, but you can tell in real life that there is a little bit of a contrast there. I'll also use this oxide ink to add some orange to the center of each of the flowers to make it a little bit darker there as well. So now it's time for his little snout, and I'm just going to add a little bit of darkness there, and we can bring in some of the black for the details. So this layer is for his hooves and his horns. I'm going to bring in some black. It also puts on the little nostrils there. So there, he's starting to come to life. He's very, very cute. Now this next layer is some leaves and stems. And I'm going to start off with just a light mowed lawn green. And the next layer will bring in even a darker green. So these layers just layer up so beautifully. You really don't have to think too much. You just have to choose some colors and you can create amazing scenes every time. I think these are brilliant stencils and so much fun to play with. Really fun to change up a little bit too and see what you can do. So here I'm bringing in the darker green, and this is going to be the last layer. And look at that little scene. So very cute. Now to add even more contrast, I'm bringing in some colored pencils just to add a little bit of darkness here and there underneath his little eye patches there, on his tail and on his chest, and a little bit on his ears. I'm going to do this on various parts of this little guy just to darken him up a little bit. So anytime you feel like you couldn't get the results you wanted with the ink and bringing in some darker inks and darker shades, you can always use some of your favorite medium to add a little bit extra. I'm also going to add a few darker spots to the black here on his horns and also on the hooves, just a little bit in the corners to add a little extra shading. And that's going to do it. Now it's time to choose a sentiment. I've chosen the Wildflowers stamp set from the Alice collection from Missing Stamps. And this one really is adorable. It says, "You are my truest friend." I'm going to stamp that a couple of times with some black ink here. And I actually do also heat emboss it with some clear embossing powder over the top so that that will stay put and not smear. So here I am just heat embossing that right quick. There we go, and there's our panel. And the last thing to do is to turn this into a card. Now this first one I'm going to make very simply. I'm just going to use a stitched rectangle frame here from Missing Stamps, and I will tape that on before I run it through the die cutting machine so I can get a nice edge to my panel. That'll add the stitched edging. So there we go, there's that. And then I'll just add it to my card base. Now to dress it up just a little bit, I will add a couple of little things. I've got some gems here. First, I'm adding a little bit of shading beneath this little scene with a Copic marker, just a light gray. And I've got some yellow gems that I'm going to add to the center of the largest flowers. So I'm going to add those all about here. And then the ones that are a little too small for these gems, because these were a little bit larger gems, I am going to use some liquid pearls. I'll attach the gems using my gem picker and just a small amount of liquid adhesive. And here's the liquid pearls in a light pink shade. I'm going to put those on the centers of all the smallest flowers that the gems did not fit on. And that will add even more texture to the card. So I'm going to tap the back just a little to flatten those out, but they will dry dimensional. So pretty. And there we go. There's our first card. Look at that sparkle with the gems, and how cute is his little face. Very, very cute. Now here's the second card I made with some darker shades of brown. I use this sentiment from Sunshine and Rainbows that says wishing you brighter days, but instead of the U, I put in moo, and I cut it out with that alpha set here. And then I used the Highland Cows stamp set to cut out the fence there. I did not use the stamp, I only used the die, and it cuts out a really cute fence. So I added that around. Added some sparkly Stardust stickles, I think it was, or maybe diamond stickles to the center of all of those flowers on that one, and then cut it out with a scalloped edge from the Missing Stamps die set that I got the alphabet set from. And I'll link all of those supplies below. If you're interested, you can go take a look. Thanks so much for stopping by today. I really had a great time. I'll see you real soon with more card inspiration. Bye-bye.